I'm the Free Elf. This is Two Piece to Me, and this is Joy and Jump. Should I edit it in? Let you be like Disney Channel?
Yeah, just don't ever put your hand in my box again.
I'm never gonna be able to learn how to do that anyway.
What? Put your hand in a box?
Have you ever seen what it actually comes out as when they trace people's wands from the Disney Channel thing?
Hey, I'm Hilary Duff from Lizzie McGuire, and you're watching Disney Channel.
It's Mickey Mouse, isn't it?
Yeah, but like when they actually trail it, like an editor went in and was like, "We're gonna do it for real," and it's just squiggles.
Oh, that's tough.
The Disney Channel people didn't even try.
I don't like that. That makes me upset.
So as always, we're gonna start off with our question.
Wait, isn't it funny though that that's like what Jake Paul is doing?
That is weird. Jake Paul was just on a Disney show, and now he's knocking out Tyron Woodley.
God.
That is weird.
What percentage of Disney stars do you think are actually normal human beings now?
Disney, like child Disney actors, dude. Less than 1%.
It was just wild. I was literally just watching like a Joe Rogan short, and Miley Cyrus talking about how she was just stoned all the time as Hannah Montana. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, I don't think I could name one. I mean, I met her best friend in that show once. She was pretty chill. Emily Osment or whatever. Anyway, this is welcome to a minute of banter, but we're going to start off with the question, which is going to lead to even more banter.
Sure.
Every week we do one random question. You can comment it. You can submit it however you'd like, and we'll look it over. But this week, do you think you're top 1% in any sport amongst the entire world population?
Every sport.
You're not top 1% at every sport.
Dude, there's no way there's a sport where there's 80 million people better than me.
There's got to be one.
No.
There's so many sports we haven't played as Americans.
And I'm still better than 80 million people.
Dude, get out of here. I mean, I think a lot of them is safe. Like, how much of the nation is athletic? Nation. How much of the world is athletic?
Yeah, but it's like, dude, imagine like we get set up in like a tournament to like figure this all out, and I'm like rolling around in jiu-jitsu with like an 8-year-old kid. I'm taking his arm home with me.
That's not right. You can't be doing that. Maybe
he's part of the population. Not my problem. Parents should have maybe not had sex at that time.
That's true. Even in America, like over half of us are obese. So you're taking out like at least over half of the world.
Dude, like you're telling me your Nana runs a slant route and I'm not cracking her ass over the middle?
Dude, you'd be surprised. She gets up.
Yeah, I don't know after this.
Yeah.
Bob Sanders her ass.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm top 1% in a lot of sports. If you don't have the confidence, especially like...
I already know where this is going.
I mean, I'm in my 20s. If you don't have the confidence that I can't be more athletic than like... I can't be in the top 80 million on the planet.
No.
I'm a top 1% quarterback.
This like kind of goes. This reminds me of the time your dad asked you when Kobe had the ice on his knees if you could score a point on him.
Oh my gosh, that was brutal. I was like, yeah, Dad, he's in the NBA right now. You're sitting on a couch eating Cheez-Its. Moving on with us athletic specimens. Kanye had a birthday, and he ate sushi off of real life ladies.
I mean, dude, those are my two favorite foods.
It's just every time we get deeper into this world and we see all these things, I feel like we're getting closer and closer to the Hunger Games. Like, do you ever think the Hunger Games was real? Like, you see the Met Gala.
I've actually never watched the Hunger Games.
So the basic premise is that everyone's super rich and gets to do whatever they want and, like, degrade the lower people.
So it's called life.
Right, but it's like every time, if you look at it, like, I'll show you a picture later, it literally just feels like we're looking at a bunch of elites do whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of... Like, I like the fact that I can, like, turn on the TV and, like, Mark Zuckerberg has, like, a belt in jiu-jitsu just pisses me off now.
That is kind of annoying.
You don't deserve that.
Yeah, and eating the sushi off of lovely ladies is actually an Eddie Murphy thing from the 80s. There's a picture of him in Paris eating, like, his lunch. It's like a burger and fries, just, like, off someone's back.
See, I need to do that. Like, this, can you guys like and subscribe so the show can take off? Because I would love to eat, like, a spicy tuna roll off, like, Ana de Armas.
No, we're not doing that.
What?
We're not becoming the Hunger Games crowd.
Dude, I will do everything else in my life normal, but I want to eat sushi off a lady. That's like in, what was it, Talladega Nights? You ever put jelly on a lady? That sounds great.
It sounds messy. Man City won the treble. By the way, didn't know treble was a thing.
Yeah. They won the Champions League, the league, and the FA Cup.
It's hard in America to see a lot of soccer things. Man City has made it so easy this year. Like, it's on every single sports account. Maybe my algorithm's just changing, but, like, it's on ESPN.
It's just wild. Like, as a Manchester United fan, there was been nothing better than just making fun of Man City my whole, like, life, like, growing up. And then the last, like, 5 to 10 years, it's been miserable. The best part of Champions League every year was waiting for Man City to get knocked out so you can make fun of them. Them and PSG just can never figure it out with these super teams. And then now they won, and I'm like, ugh.
They have the coolest jerseys, though. I just gotta be honest.
Baby blue is just such a cool color.
And Haaland just looks unreal in it. He's just a massive human. Dude, and he wins, and this is why he's so great. Haaland wins, and he goes right up to Henry, and he's like, what should I do to get better? They just won the Champions League, the FA Cup, and the league. And he's like, what do I need to do? And Henry looked right at him, and he was just like, if you get good with your right foot, you will score 100 goals a season. How insane is it that Ronaldo and Messi are both out of the league? And then, in my opinion, I feel like soccer, football, whatever you call it, is at one of its best heights ever.
Yep.
Like, I think it's getting more eyes on it. I don't know if it's because of the efforts in America. And when I mean more eyes, I mean American eyes, because there's already enough eyes on soccer. There's a lot I didn't discover till Welcome to Wrexham either. I think Ryan Reynolds and McElhenney made a lot of the coolest things about soccer public knowledge in America. Don't eat me.
And my favorite part of this whole thing is Jack Grealish, I do not think has taken his kit off yet.
He shouldn't.
No.
I mean, he's the exact opposite of J.R. Smith.
Yeah, it's like J.R. Smith could not wait to get his shirt off like after the game. Yeah. Jack Grealish is like 6 a.m. He's in the club drinking still, and he's just got his full kit on. I'm like, this guy's a legend. I feel like Haaland is just not someone you want to try to go drink for drink with. He looks like he just pounds them down.
There's going to be no in between. He either doesn't drink at all, like he's like, I only drink water and green juice, or he drinks like a whole keg. As an American getting into soccer, relegation's the coolest thing on the planet. It just makes sense. Like, we have such big problems in American sports on teams tanking to try to get better picks. Stop that. Like, if we had relegation, that would never happen again. And then if, for whatever reason, the best XFL team came into the NFL, it would be such a meme squad. Like, everybody would love them.
They would get trounced.
Probably would. Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, they'd probably constantly get demoted.
Yeah,
but
I love that in the NFL when they're like, oh, like, can Alabama beat this team? No. They cannot beat the worst team in the NFL. They would get demolished.
I just wish relegation was more prominent here. I mean, it's not prominent at all. It doesn't happen. But it's such a genius concept. And the other thing that
the NBA should do that for sure.
The NBA could do that because a lot of people can get buckets.
If I was running the G League, I would have the G League in all like the cities that people always talk about, like having teams, like put a team in Seattle.
If they also had more incentive to go get better players for your G League team, I mean, people would take the job more seriously. They would go snag. They'd be like, Jimmer, do not go to China. Come play like for Seattle real quick, or whoever. Like Dwight Howard's over there dominating Taiwan.
I'm like loving Dwight Howard right now. He just seems to be all over the internet all of a sudden, like randomly, like talking all the time, and it's like my favorite thing right now.
The Dwight Howard disrespect is insane. People forget how good he was at basketball.
People acting like Jokic would just cook him in his prime. I'm like, you guys not remember he won 3 Defensive Player of the Years in a row? Like, he was a freak.
Not a debatable thing either. Like, he deserved every single one of them. When players get a little older, I think they lose a lot of the respect they had earned. It's just like Rudy Gobert's best does not even compare to Dwight Howard. And Rudy Gobert was that defensive guy too. Dwight Howard was just nuts.
Dwight Howard could score too.
Yeah. It's the same thing with Paul Pierce. I was talking to someone the other day, and I was like, everything Paul Pierce has done after his career has made people forget how good he was.
Dude, he was hammered with KG on that show the other night. I was like, bro, what are you doing?
In the fight world, Amanda Nunes retired.
She's so good, dude.
She's too good to even still be fighting. There's some of those fighters that get to a point where it's like, how long am I going to keep going just to get like caught once? I'm clearly better than everyone.
Well, she did get caught with Juliana Pena, and then she came out and just beat the brakes off her. And then you got Juliana being like, she's scared of me. Like, Juliana, shut up. That fight was hard to watch. Like, Amanda Nunes beat the shit out of her for 5 rounds. The fight wasn't even close. Like, if anything was ever proven that the first fight was a fluke, it was that fight. And you're like, oh, she's scared of me? What are you talking about?
It's tough because I 100% agree with you, but I'm on the other side in the sense where I need a third fight. I'm just not like, if it's 1-1, I need a third.
I would have preferred if they fought one more time in Brazil, kind of like like an appreciation. Like, we all know she's retiring. Like, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's done. The records she's set are just insane. They'll never be broken because I think MMA is only going to get more and more even. As like, I think long title reigns are just not going to be a thing that much anymore. And especially like with the women, because they're just the pool is so much bigger now than it was just even 5-10 years ago. But when you see some of the stuff she's done, like she knocked out Holly Holm with a head kick. Holly Holm is known for throwing head kicks.
That's true.
She destroyed Cyborg in the first round. That's what Cyborg does to everybody else. She destroyed Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
She destroyed Miesha Tate. I think she's beaten every single woman that's ever held the bantamweight title.
She's also beaten like the legends of the women's divisions. So there's not much to really talk about, and I don't blame her for retiring. I couldn't stop laughing when she was yelling at the belts, though.
Oh, man, that's so funny.
Yeah,
Double champ forever!
I was like, all right, dude. In Vancouver, which is where the UFC event was held, the Canadians won 6-0.
Yeah.
Pretty cool for Canada.
You know, there's a bunch of dudes in Canada that definitely took some parlays of all the Canadian fighters, and they're just cashing out right now.
Yeah. They're all like, see, we're not that nice, dude. They figured it out, man. I love that. I love when any sporting event goes to any hometown like the WWE. And they put on a show for their fans. Like, freaking Patty at the O2.
Oh, it's there's nothing better than watching, like, whether it's, I mean, Europe or any one of those just big, like when you go to a big country, especially in Europe, it's wild when you have like a hometown person there. It's just crazy.
Europeans are so much better at being sports fans than we are. I'm just gonna tell the truth.
We'll get there.
Like they have all like the chants and just, they actually root for their cities. They're not worried about fantasy sports.
Yeah, it's just fun. Yeah, like when I go to the Jets game every year, it's the best thing we came up with was spelling Jets.
Yeah.
Like that's what we came up with. Some guy was like, "All right, everyone get quiet." It's like random dude with a fireman hat on. He's like, "All right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna spell this out for you right now."
Like
we
you're
couldn't do anything else.
You're in New York. There's opportunity here.
No,
Yeah.
I mean in New Jersey.
Ugh.
That blows my mind too. Like, how are we called the New York Jets? We
I don't
even
know.
play in New York. It's so weird.
It's so disrespectful to New Jersey if you think about
Yeah,
it.
they're like Aaron Rodgers coming to the Big Apple. No, he's not.
He's really not.
Probably not even gonna live there either. Like, what are we doing?
Of course he's not gonna live there. Him? No shot.
And I don't understand why the Giants and the Jets share a stadium too. There's no reason.
There's plenty of money in the New York market.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Well, it's like one team should just go to New Jersey.
Were they ever in New York and then the Meadowlands was moved to there?
No, it's literally right. The same thing Yankee Stadium was. It was right across the street.
So they've just always been in New Jersey.
Also, the worst stadium too. Like they spent over $1 billion on a stadium that if it's raining out and you're buying a hot dog, you get rained on. Like who designed this building?
Yeah.
Ted Mosby. Get on the line.
If I'm a New Jersey native, like I'm mad. I'm like, okay, so we suck this bad that you couldn't even give us one of the teams. You have two. Give us one. Another unexpected thing in the fight world. Conor McGregor knocked out a Mascot.
Good.
It was like really funny in the moment until you found out he actually knocked him out.
Dana was funny talking about it after the fights on Saturday. He just was like, "What did you think? Like, what did you think was gonna happen? That you tell Conor McGregor to punch you?" He goes, "I don't know. They don't have that much padding on the Mascots."
Yeah, how many drinks was he deep too? Like he probably he's sitting courtside at an NBA game.
Listen, he's said multiple times no one can take that left-hand shot.
Yeah, that's
Just
true.
proving his point. Like he knocks out animals now.
My favorite thing about Dana White, by the way, is he treats his fighters for who they are. They're fighters. They're all crazy.
Oh, he also, my favorite Dana White thing, I think it's been a trend the last 2 years, is he loves calling like 38-year-old people kid.
Yeah, that kid's crazy.
He's like, that kid's got a bright future. Or he was talking about Nunes last night. He's like, that kid made a lot of money. I'm like, dude, she's like 35. Like that's not a kid. Like, what are you talking about? And Dana's like 50. It's not like he's 70. Like he's just walking around calling everyone kid.
He shows up to the Apex with his little food deliveries and goes, "What's up? It's fucking Friday, dude."
Dude, there's nothing better than fucking Friday.
I hate that.
And I love how honest he is too. When they cook something, it's like he goes, "This is shit," and he like puts the thumbs down. And then I love it. He's like, "There's no way this isn't gonna be fucking great." And it's like some just strawberry shortcake that they deep fried. It's like, no shit, that's gonna be good.
It's funny when like a reporter or someone in media tries to cancel a fighter. It's like, who did you think these people were?
Oh, it's so funny.
They're not model citizens. They're here because the only thing they were able to do is fight most of the time, not all of them. But the only thing they were able to do is fight. Like Adesanya is a good example of someone who probably could have done something else. Like he had other jobs. But dude, McGregor, you ever seen his videos? He's living in his girlfriend, his mom's basement. And he's like training in these small promotions, just dreaming of being in the UFC. What was he gonna do?
He was on welfare
Was he gonna be a professor?
for his first fight in the UFC.
And then you're like, how could he say that? Well, because he gets punched in the head for a living.
Dana's like, we lock them in a cage until someone falls. What did you expect him to say going into the pre-fight? They're like, he said some pretty disrespectful stuff about Khabib. No shit.
Deontay Wilder and Francis Ngannou are trying to do some kind of crossover fight. I think it was supposed to be Tyson Fury at first. It looks like Fury said nah. But so it's half in the cage and half in the ring.
Yeah, Wilder was at PFL on Thursday and kind of seemed like he was pretty down about setting it up to do it, which I think makes the most sense. I feel like, and he said it best. He goes, none of the boxing guys ever go to MMA. It's like I think it's only happened with like James Toney. So it would be really cool to kind of do that. But he was very vocal about we're boxing first. He just kept kind of saying that, which I guess makes like a ton of sense. But if I'm Ngannou, that's the guy I want to fight. Compared to like you want to fight the power puncher that. I mean, Tyson Fury's just going to box him up. Like, Anthony Joshua is going to box him up. Like, not that Wilder's not technical, but of, like, all of the bigger heavyweight stars, he's probably the least technical and more of the, I want to get you out of here with this big looping right hand.
I just think it's awesome that they're trying to evolve fighting. They're like, well, we can't stay super linear here. We got to mix it up a little bit. We live in a world in which this is actually a thing. 15 years ago, if you were saying, we're going to throw Mike Tyson in a UFC ring, they'd be like, no way, dude. Like,
well, they tried that when the UFC first started. Like, one of the guys showed up with one glove on. He had one boxing glove on.
Yeah,
buddy, what are you doing?
It's just funny how the world's adapting. The Paul brothers start boxing, and then every other promotion's like, we got to do something interesting.
There's nothing funnier than watching, like, the first few UFCs, and you're just like, what a cast of characters this is right now. Like, how did we end up here?
TikTok influencer Bryce Hall is going to be in the bare knuckle fighting championship.
I just looked it up to see what this guy looks like. That dude, you're a pretty guy. Like you don't need to be in bare knuckle fighting. What are you doing, dude?
I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't help that the last video we talked about bare knuckle fighting championship, I didn't know if I liked it. This doesn't help. I won't lie to you.
What are they doing? Bare knuckle fighting seems like a company that's gonna go under eventually. They just seem like they're throwing money at anybody to do anything.
And I will say props to Bryce for like being ballsy enough to do it because it just looks brutal. I just don't know if this is like the greatest thing for them to do.
Probably not.
I don't know though. I mean, I don't think this TikTok audience is a big like pay-per-view buying audience. I mean, the last one sold like 300 pay-per-views. Did you see that?
Oh, did you see? They said they calculated it was like 700,000 people like pirated it.
Yeah, and they don't have enough money to stop that.
No.
And but it was like an all-time low for pay-per-view buys. So maybe they're hoping something.
Shout out all-time low.
Yeah, great band.
Good band.
Yeah, good. I shouldn't have said great. They're a
That's
good
all right,
band. One more random question thing I want to add here. It's not the question, of course. We got to talk about tipping in America.
Sure.
It's just insane. Like the places that should not be able to ask for a tip are asking for tips now, and I don't understand it. And I'm someone for a large part of my life who relied solely on tips. I bartend still. There's no shot that I would expect anyone to, the floor is not 20%. Like the floor is like 5% if you want. If I made a shit drink or gave you shit service, give me 5%. But the fact that everyone just comes in now and expects 20, it's insane.
I don't understand why when I go to like a restaurant, not like a restaurant, like a chain thing, and I walk in and I'm like ordering my food like at the register, and then it says, "Do you want a tip?" Like, what am I tipping?
I don't get it.
All you did was ask me how I was doing. Why am I tipping you?
It happened today. I got pizza today and they turned it around and said tip. What? We're not tipping because you're making the food. And if I am, I better watch this go into that cook's hand. Like, you better turn around and give them this.
Yeah, like,
this
why
cash.
am I tipping the person that's just standing there? You're like a glorified host, and I have to tip you when you did absolutely nothing but stand here and look mildly pretty?
The tip is for good service, not for just getting A to B. It makes no sense to me.
It's wild. I don't get it. Like, everybody's getting tipped now, too. It's just, I don't understand it at all.
Yeah, I saw New York Post had an article today about how, like, it's starting to come to a mean. Like, people are tipping a lot less because of how outrageous it's got, which makes me feel bad for people who are solely rely on service industry money. Because it's like you could have someone really balling out trying to earn that tip, and then, you know, Cindy Lou at the coffee shop down the street is running this guy's pockets every week. I saw a lady the other day, she posted a TikTok, and someone comes up to her and goes, "Can I pet your dog?" And she pets the dog, and then the girl turns her phone around and says, "Can you fill this out real quick?" And is a tip percentage. We'll see you next week.
Just tip.
Or Wednesday.
Ooh, maybe Wednesday.
We'll see. It kind of depends on how the world decides to be. If something exciting happens, something funny happens, we'll be back.